Dragon Ball Sparking Zero has been out for over 2 weeks now, and there is a lot to talk about regarding the game. A lot of people have already provided their overall opinions with it, and for my own personal opinion on the game, I think it's really good so far, but I do have some gripe with it that I think needs some improvements. That is the main thing we want to discuss in this video, because there are some major issues with the game revolving bugs, balancing, and a bunch of other things that the community has been talking about that needs to be improved upon so that we can ultimately have a better experience for the game. Now, I want to start with the main things that need to be focusing on when it comes to it, because I believe the most game-breaking things regarding the game are a part of the bugs and glitches with the game currently, and I'm not going to be able to go over all of them just because I haven't seen all of the ones being presented, but I will be going over some that I think are pretty game-breaking and need to be adjusted immediately. And to start, this is going to be the controller inputs changing issue, which, if you guys don't know about this normally happens when classic players fight a standard player, and it changes their controls to essentially standard, making their buttons overlap with each other, essentially ruining the experience of any form of online matches for people who are used to playing on the classic control. Now, I know at the recording of the time of this video, they actually made a tweet. They're going to be fixing this issue for us in late October. We're already about a week and a half away of the month ending, so this patch should be coming out either within the next coming days or sometime next week, which needs to happen immediately. It's such an annoying issue to the point that it kind of just made me stop wanting to play the game some days because I just ran into it so much. So it's good to see that they're going to be adjusting and fixing that pretty soon. A next big known issue is currently the game has been crashing on all platforms, whether that's Xbox, PlayStation, or PC. And some of these crashes have led to people getting messages saying that if they continue to quit out of online matches, they could potentially get banned, which ultimately isn't their fault. It's stability issues with the game causing a lot of errors and crashes to be happening for players. And for the fact that people potentially getting banned have already been banned because of how frequently the game has been crashing, this is something that needs to be resolved immediately, because we shouldn't be running into something, essentially an issue where we're going to get punished for something that's out of our control. We didn't have the whole player save files getting deleted, which is, if I'm not mistaken, this was an issue around the time with Jump Force as well. And I bring that up because this is another Spike Chunsoft game, and it seems like Spike is running into similar issues that they had to fix a few years ago when Jump Force released, and they're running into the same issue here with Sparking Zero, to the point that it kind of questions, why are we running into these similar issues? Why hasn't there been an overall resolve or fix for it? Especially when a lot of things that comes with game development is that a lot of game developers use previous builds from other games to kind of build upon and have like a starting structure in order to make development a bit easier for them, since they're familiar with certain systems. And so to have that familiarity and some of the issues that happened in the past, it just kind of surprises me that we're running into these set of issues again with Sparking Zero's release. Xbox is also having a major issue with the servers of them not being able to find anyone to play with. This is something that has been happening with anime games as a whole on Xbox, to the point that a lot of people just suggest people not to buy these games on Xbox. And I don't think that's a proper way of fixing an issue for players, because people are going to have that console and people should be able to play these games on that console, especially if they're selling that game at a premium price of 60 to 70 bucks. People that spend that amount of money should be able to experience the game just as well as the rest of us, and they definitely need to fix that for Xbox players so that they can enjoy the game as well, because right now I hear, outside of just doing offline content, doing anything online, it's essentially absolutely miserable because they can't play the aspect of the game they want to enjoy with the money that they spent on it, and that just sucks. It sucks. But a major and weird bug glitch that I saw that my friend actually sent me, and I don't think I've seen too many people report on this, is that the team that he selected got switched with his opponents, and the same thing happened to his opponents. So they were essentially fighting each other using each other's teams. I haven't seen anybody else talk about this or tweet about this, but this was a random bug that happened with him playing online. I believe it was ranked as well, and this is something that needs to be nipped in the bud immediately, because I don't even know how this happened. It's such a weird phenomenon for this to exist, but just in case it happens again and needs to be adjusted, this is something that we need to fix immediately. Again, any form of bugs, glitches, or crashes that are causing issues for players regardless of platform needs to be fixed and adjusted as soon as possible. And again, I wasn't able to cover everything, so if you guys have any other ones that needs to be addressed that you think are very problematic and should be addressed as soon as possible, definitely bring those up. Now, outside of bugs and glitches, the next thing you want to talk about is general balance with the game that people are talking about within the community that I believe needs to be addressed. Maybe not immediately, but it should be a form of discussion that needs to be talked about, because when it comes to balance for Sparking Zero, I don't think its focus should be on in a competitive sense of like what the competitive players think about the game. I think the overall balance of the game should be going around based off of how the community feels about dealing with certain things and how they can reduce those form of annoyances to allow people to enjoy the game a lot more. And the first thing that comes to mind is the fusion problem. Now, fusions, this is something that's been going out the gate since day one, and I'm not surprised that it is a thing and it's going to continue to be a thing because they are just going to be strong characters as a whole. Now, how we are able to essentially fix this or alleviate this is either by bringing up other characters and making them a bit stronger, or adjusting the tool set that some of these characters have. I don't want fusions to be outright nerfed, because I understand that these fusion characters are supposed to be really strong and really powerful, but there needs to be a much more manageable way for us to deal with these characters. I say the main things that need to be adjusted with them overall deals with like some of their blast abilities that they have. Like after Image Strike being on Super Vegito is very degenerate. There should be some overall general debuff added to After Image Strike, which actually existed in BT3 because it made you not want to spam the ability over and over again because of the overall cooldown that was applied to it. There also needs to be adjustments to some of the fusion characters' health, like Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta having 4 bars of health. I think overall every character at maximum should have 3 bars so that there can be some form of equal playing field there within the health area. That'll make dealing with these characters a bit more easier, but these characters will still overall be a lot stronger than the rest of the cast because they already are faster than a lot of other characters. They deal a lot more damage and they have a lot more crazy skills that are specialized for them because they are fusions that makes them very unique in comparison to the rest of the cast, still making them ultimately really strong. I think making some small changes to things like their health and some few other things for them, just toning them down slightly, it'll make things a lot less egregious for people getting into playing rank and just online in general. Also, there's another big thing which I like to call the healing meta going on within rank, which involves characters like Yajirobe, Android 19, Android 20, which essentially the whole goal is to stall, fight off your opponent as long as possible, pop with Yajirobe Senzu Bean, or use Android 19 and 20 to trigger their grabs to heal themselves, or use ultimates to heal themselves. That is the core gameplay of these characters, and it's all about stalling and living and outliving your opponent, which drags on games a lot, making matches extremely too long. I've seen plenty of ranked match sessions of people in live streams and even tournaments where people are running this form of meta within the game, and it's really annoying to deal with because you always get these characters extremely low about to kill them, then they pop all of their healing moves, or especially with Yajirobe, his Senzu Bean, it gives them max health again, and it just is annoying to deal with. Now, similar to the controller bug issue, they also mentioned in the tweet that they will be fixing Yajirobe, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be in regards to his Senzu Bean and how much health he gets back, because generally the character himself isn't extremely crazy. It's just that his sustainability of being able to live so long because of how strong Senzu Bean is that makes him such a viable character at the higher ranks of play. Now, there is a little bit of counterplay with like killing these characters really fast with using characters like fusions or strong characters in general to get him out without using Senzu Bean, but I believe adjustments like, if I'm not mistaken, he's able to start off with 2 bars with like 2 blast stocks, if making it so that he starts off with none, and also making it so that he doesn't fully regain his health back but slightly gives himself health regen, that'll be a much better decision because there's already characters that do that, like Super Boo. He has regeneration. It doesn't give him all his health back. I believe it gives about 40% of his life back, which is a much better thing to do for Yajirobe because we don't need to fight a 3-bar health Yajirobe constantly all match. That's just insane. I kind of understand why they did it with the canonical sense of Senzu Beans being able to put you back in your peak potential, but when it comes to gameplay, Nobody wants to deal with that. Android 19 and Android 20 not only being able to heal themselves, also has this crazy thing where they're able to have infinite ki because of a specific gimmick that they have. I can't remember exactly why they have this infinite ki thing, but we literally had a tournament seeing of somebody just stalling out, running away with Android 19 because they were able to dash up and down across the screen, and you honestly can't catch them because of how fast they move, and they were using their ability that gives them armor, so if you could catch them, they were just going to be able to armor through your moves anyway. It makes the character extremely annoying to deal with, and it's one of the main reasons why these characters are high up in rank and people are constantly using them and throwing on their team. You'll notice that the main discussion when it comes to overall balance within Sparking Zero at the moment is things that are just very annoying to deal with, and if the community as a whole deems things annoying to deal with, they should be adjusted. It's not specifically all about how strong they are, but essentially how fun it is to play against it, and that's where the overall balance and health of the game is going to last, because if there's things in the game that are super annoying for people to play against and it's going to be the main bane, or it's going to benefit the toxicity side of the community with playing the game online, you're going to have lesser and lesser people wanting to play and deal with the stuff within the game if adjustments are made. That's why personally I'm not in agreement with people saying that this game doesn't need any form of balancing, because honestly that's just cap. The game does need some adjustments. It doesn't need to be competitively viable, but it just needs to make sure that it maintains that fun factor for people to enjoy, because if not, who's going to want to play and deal with this same meta a year or two from now? Even with DLC and stuff, if it comes out that the DLC characters aren't strong enough to deal with the current metas within the game, or they don't cause any shift within the meta but ultimately just fall in line with it, the game's just going to get stale, and that's just not fun. That's like one of the strong aspects of having balance patches with games, not only to improve the competitive viability in some cases for games, but also to just add like a refresher, a reset with how the game overall feels, having new characters being at the top and seeing how the overall game plays out with new characters being introduced, and essentially bringing a new breath of fresh air within the game without even worrying about like how competitively viable something is. It just wants to make the game feel fresh again and to have fun again, and that's something that we need for Sparking Zero, regardless how people feel about adjusting and balancing with the game. That's just something that's going to help the game have a more healthier lifestyle for most people to maintain and get into. But that doesn't also mean I want these changes now as well. I'm really fine with just waiting a few months before we get another balance patch after this upcoming patch comes at the end of the month. I'm fine with just waiting out a few months before we get anything else to change the game up, because I do think we're still at an early point of the game's life where we do need to feel something out and see if we can overcome a lot of things within the meta by just playing and get better at the game. Once we get past those periods of, okay, we understand what's really broken and we understand the counterplay to it, and if there really is any workarounds for it, if things are still too strong, then we should introduce and start talking about, all right, maybe we need another balance patch. But I'm not really in a big rush for one at the moment. I'm fine currently with how the game is. Once I do the Yajirobe change, I'll be cool, and I just want my controls to be fixed when playing the game. But honestly, that's really the only issues with Sparking Zero at the moment. Of course, there's probably some other things that I haven't talked about here that you guys can bring up as well in the comment section below, which I'm all open to hearing, because I definitely want to have a further discussion with you guys in the comments. Let me know how you guys are feeling about Sparking Zero and the problems with the game currently, and if it's either dampering and harming your experience, or if it's not that big of a deal to you. I know mostly people care about the bugs and glitches that need to be adjusted, because those are definitely more so game breaking than balance overall, but I do think balance is a discussion that's going to be ongoing as long as the game is going to be out, because people are going to want to see a shift and have some form of new excitement with the game and not seeing the same repeated things for years to come. This is a new era of gaming. Balance patches are just going to be needed. It doesn't need to be extremely frequent, but just every now and then, so that we can have a new coat of paint, a breath of fresh air to enjoy the game again and make it feel like it's release day all over again. But anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new, and always remember to believe in you that believes in yourself. I'll see you guys in the next one.